Television. Business of the House is expected to resume any time from now, and at the time Madam Speaker suspended business for a 20 minutes health break. The House was considering question 197, Understanding Order 80. This question came from Speaker Member of Parliament, Mr. Francis Kapyanga, and his question was directed to the Minister of Infrastructure, Housing and Urban Development, where he wanted to find out when the contract for the rehabilitation of the Great North Road from Serenje to Mpika will be signed. In Part B, whether the contract will include upgrading of township roads to bituminous standard in the district along the route of the project. In Part C, if so, which districts will benefit from upgrading of township roads. And in Part D, if no township roads will be included. And the Minister has already responded to the question, and we expect members of Parliament to pose questions to the Minister.
And also, just to mention that earlier on today, we did have some urgent matters without notice that were considered. Some announcements by Madam Speaker were made, and some questions have been considered. We still expect a number of questions to be considered later on, and then we do expect to have a bill. This bill is the Agriculture Credits and Warehouse Receipts Bill, National Assembly Bill number 34 of 2025. This bill will come up for consideration at second reading. For those who are wondering, of course, what happens at second reading, this is where the advantages of the bill, disadvantages of the bill are outlined, and members of Parliament are given a chance to debate. We take you back to the House for the continued live parliamentary proceeding.
Good afternoon. You're still watching Parliament Television. Bells are ringing, which signifies there's no quorum in the House. It is a requirement that 1/3 of members of Parliament must be present in the House for any business to transact. And so once the quorum has been formed, we expect business of the House to resume. And at the time Madam Speaker suspended business for a 20 minutes health break, the House was considering question 197, which came from Speaker Member of Parliament, Mr. Francis Kapyanga, and this question was directed to the Minister of Infrastructure, Housing and Urban Development, and the Minister has already responded to the question, and members of Parliament will be asking supplementary question to the Minister once the quorum has been formed.
And then we have two more questions, question 198 and 199, yet to be considered on the floor of the House. A quick look at question 198. This question will be posed by Kalabo Central Member of Parliament, directed at the Minister of Mines and Minerals Development. In his question, which he asks in three parts, he wants to know how much copper was produced in Zambia from 2018 to 2024, year by year. How much copper was produced within the country in the period between 2018 and 2024? And lastly, what measures the government has taken to increase local processing of the mineral? This is question 198, which we expect the House to consider later on.
The last question on the order paper today, this is question 199, is expected to come from Chinsali Member of Parliament, Mr. Kalalu Mukosa. His question will be directed to the Minister of Education. He wants to find out a question in four parts. In Part A, whether the government is aware that pupils from the following areas in Chinsali Parliamentary Constituency cover more than 7 kilometers to the nearest secondary school. This is Mwalala, Chinsota, and Charles. In Part B, if so, whether the government has any plans to construct a secondary school in each area to cater for the affected pupils. In Part C, if so, when the plans will be implemented, and in Part D, if there are no such plans, why?
Okay, so basically that is the business we expect the House to continue considering once a quorum is formed. So two questions for oral answer, understanding number 80, and the order of the day, which is the Agricultural Credits and Warehouse Receipts Bill. So if you want to get the order paper, when the House is sitting. The order paper basically is an agenda showing the business that the House is going to consider on a particular day. So the order paper can be accessed from our website, which is www.parliament.gov.zm. And indeed, if you want to follow the proceedings, the deliberations, as we broadcast them to you live from here, Parliament Buildings, you may do so on which platforms, Matumba?
On DSTV channel 272, GoTV channel 28, Topstar channel 5, and you can also follow the proceedings on our Facebook page, National Assembly of Zambia, and also on YouTube, National Assembly of Zambia.
Okay, so and of course we always say that you can also indeed follow Parliament Radio, which is on our website, www.parliament.gov.zm. Once you open our website, the top right corner, you'll find a link which says radio. Just click on that link and you'll be able to listen to Parliament Radio wherever you are. Remember, we are here to bring Parliament closer to you, and we'll always be there to, of course, bring Parliament closer to you, not forgetting all the times that we broadcast the deliberations that take place in the committees. And just to mention that of late, of course, we've been broadcasting live deliberations that have been taking place in the local government accounts committee.
Order.
And
when business was suspended, the House was considering question number 197 on the order paper asked by the Honorable Member from Pika. And the Honorable Member from Pika was about to ask a supplementary question. May the Honorable Member continue.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, most recently, I asked a question on the Honorable Member, on the Honorable Minister of Local Government. And during that time, the Honorable Minister of Infrastructure was acting as Minister of Local Government. In his response to the Chinsali Member of Parliament during a follow-up question, he said that government could consider allocating some urban roads during the construction of Great North Road from Serenje to Mpika. In the case of Mpika, Madam Speaker, we have a stretch of about 15 kilometers. It's called the Mpika Dual Carriageway, which means that this rehabilitation won't cover that part. But during their planning, I'm sure, they have allocated the money to do even that part. Why don't they just spread the money which is supposed to be used on that part for urban roads, Madam Speaker? Madam Speaker, I thank you.
The Honorable Minister of Infrastructure, Housing and Urban Development.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. And by way of maybe giving more information, the information I will give now is similar to what I gave last week when a similar question was asked by the Honorable Member for Chitambo, when he was making reference to Labushmanda roads and so on. The government of the Republic of Zambia is implementing the $270 million World Bank funded transport corridors for economic resilience, that is TRESA projects. The project includes rehabilitation of approximately 238 kilometers of the Great North Road from Serenje to Mpika, and including bridges and structures. The project has been divided in two construction packages. Package 1, that is Serenje to Lukulu, approximately 119 kilometers. And package 2 is Lukulu to Chilonga area, which is 119 kilometers. The works are expected to be undertaken within a period of 36 months from the commencement date. Already, a market sounding by way of early market engagement was undertaken on the 18th December 2025. I'm sure the Honorable Member is aware of those, whose purpose was to inform potential stakeholders about upcoming road rehabilitation project. Now, with respect to the point that he has raised on township roads, our answer to this question is this is a World Bank funded project. To the extent of this 238 million kwacha for 238 kilometers. And because it's World Bank money, it does not, that project does not specify township roads. It's as straightforward as that. Now, sometimes when we bring things in the public domain, it has potential to spoil the soup. This government is as determined to save the people of Serenge, the people of Kalonga, the people, and all in between, right up to Mpika. It's not just the MP who is determined to save them. These matters will be attended to in due course. But if you want me here to say, yes, this World Bank project includes township roads, the answer is it does not. And the honorable member is free to engage with us, whereby we shall determine what can and cannot be done. I think for now, I beg that I leave the question at that stage, because any more utterances might cause the thing not to go as is planned. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you. Next question, the Honorable Member for Kalabo Central.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Question number 198.
The Honorable Minister of Mines and Minerals Development. The Acting Minister.
Thank you. Thank you, Madam Speaker. The Honorable Member for Kalabo, Honorable Chinga Miutu, is asking the Minister of Mines and Mineral Development the following three questions. A, how much copper was produced in Zambia from 2018 to 2024, year by year? B, how much copper was processed within the country in the period A? And C, what measures the government has taken to increase local processing of the mineral? Madam Speaker, we answer as follows. In response to the question raised by Honorable Mr. Miutu, Member of Parliament for Kalabo Central Parliamentary Constituency, who asked the following questions: how much copper was, maybe I shouldn't go through that because I've already read that. Madam Speaker, the amount of copper produced in Zambia from 2018 to 2024, year by year, was as follows. 2018, 808,370 tons. 2019, 733,088.88 tons. 2020, 848,938 tons. 2021, 815,812 tons. 2022, 787,624 tons. 2023, 786 tons, 786,523 tons. And the 2024, 825,271 tons. The quantity of copper processed within the country during the period at A was as follows. 2018, copper anodes for electrolytic refining, that is primary quality, was 692,150.562 tons. Copper blister, that is unrefined copper, not anodes for electrolytic refining, 134,955.565. Electron 1 cathodes, that is primary quality, 17,473 tons, 0.497. Electro worn cathodes, that is off grade, not really pure grade, that is secondary quality, 10,990, 164. Electro worn copper cathodes, that is high purity, 144,655.855 tons. Electro worn copper cathodes, that is low purity, 30,680.029 tons. The grand total of copper processed in country for that year, 2018, was 1,030,905.672 tons. For year 2019, the total, maybe I'll just go to the total. If someone wants a question, I can always go back. The total copper processed in the country was 821,325.631 tons. For 2020, total copper processed was 931,517.249 tons. For 2021, total processed was 890,557,263 tons. For 2022, was 876,030.504 tons. For 2023, it was 749,849.618 tons. For 2024, it was 787,917.592. Of course, these totals indicate the various grades of final copper produced. Answer to C, Madam Speaker, government has implemented, this is why I said what measures the government has taken to increase local processing of the mineral. So the answer is government has implemented several measures to increase local processing of copper and the other minerals. These include introducing and maintaining export duties on concentrates to encourage local beneficiation, strengthening policies that promote value addition within the country, attracting investment into smelting, refining facilities, facilitating joint ventures between local and foreign investors to enhance processing capacity, introducing fiscal and regulatory incentives for companies that undertake beneficiation, and supporting research, skills development, and technology transfer to improve efficiency in mineral processing. These measures, Madam Speaker, are aimed at ensuring that Zambia derives greater economic benefits from its mineral resources through job creation, industrial growth, and increased export value. I thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you. Supplementary questions? I see none. We make progress. Next question, the Honorable Member for Chinsali.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Question number 199.
The Honorable Minister of Education.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Mr. Mukosa asks the question, A, whether the government is aware that pupils from the following areas in Chinsali parliamentary constituents cover more than 7 kilometers to the nearest secondary school, 1 Malala, Chisonta, and 3 Charles. B, if so, whether the government has any plans to construct a secondary school in each area to cater for the affected pupils. C, if so, when the plans will be implemented. And D, if there are no such plans, why? Madam Speaker, I wish to inform the House that A, the government is aware that some learners from Malala, Chisonta, and Charles areas in Chinsali parliamentary constituency have in the past been covering distances exceeding 7 kilometers to access the nearest secondary schools. Learners from Mwalala and Chisonta primary schools, located in Kakula ward, previously traveled to Rubwa Day Secondary School and Kenneth Kaunda Secondary School. In order to address this challenge, the government operationalized Nkula Day Secondary School in Kakula ward. This school is now serving as a receiving secondary school for Nkula, Chisonta, Mwalala, Lumpene, and Nashinga primary schools. Although the school is operational, additional infrastructure development and teacher deployment are required for it to operate at full capacity. With regard to Charles Primary School, learners had been traveling to Mlilansolo Day Secondary School. To mitigate this challenge, government recently operationalized Shimwalule Day Secondary School in Miremba ward, which has significantly reduced the distance traveled by learners in surrounding areas. Madam Speaker, the government has plans to progressively expand and upgrade secondary school infrastructure in the district, particularly in the 7 newly operationalized secondary schools, in order to further enhance access. With regard to Charles Primary Community, the ministry is considering various modalities, including the learner population and projected enrollment trends, with a view to upgrading Charles Primary School into a day secondary school. This initiative will, however, be subject to the availability of resources and will be undertaken after priority infrastructure works at the recently operationalized secondary schools have been completed. C, Madam Speaker, implementation of these plans will be undertaken in a phased manner, that again subject to availability of resources under the national budget. The immediate priority is to strengthen the 7 newly operationalized secondary schools by providing adequate infrastructure, staffing and learning materials before commencing additional upgrade projects. And D, Madam Speaker, as indicated, plans are in place. However, timelines for implementation will depend on resource mobilization and budgetary prioritization within the medium-term expenditure framework. For the record, Madam Speaker, the following day secondary schools have recently been operationalized in Chinsali Parliamentary Constituency to reduce long distances traveled by learners. 1, Kalela Day Secondary School in Itapa Ward. 2, Chilunda Day Secondary School in Chilunda Ward. 3, Castle Day Secondary School in Chilinda Ward. 4, Tongo Day Secondary School in Chilinda Ward. 5, Shimwalule Day Secondary School in Miremba Ward. 6, Cheswa Day Secondary School in Chambiashi Ward. 7, Kula Day Secondary School in Kakula Ward. The government continues to work closely with ward development committees and local authorities to prioritize additional infrastructure development under the Constituency Development Fund to further enhance access to secondary education. Madam Speaker, I thank you.
Thank you. Supplementary questions. The Honorable Member for Chinsali.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Thank you, Honorable Minister, for the answer you have provided. And I would like to just bring to your attention, Honorable Minister, that this question came as a result of a ministerial statement or some guidance that you provided in this House that we have ensured that as we have removed grade 8 and grade 9 from basic schools, there will still be no schools that will have students, pupils rather, moving for over 7 kilometers. Now, for both Charles and also this one, Chinsonta and Mwalala, which are in the same area, the next secondary schools are still above 10 kilometers, the distance that the children cover. You provided in the answer that the pupils at Charles, they go to the new Shimwalule Secondary School. The truth, Honorable Minister, is that the closest grade 8 and 9 to Charles is Mulilansolo and Shimwalule. The two secondary schools that we have, they are both over 10 kilometers in terms of distance. But I also take cognizance of the answer that you've provided that the government has plans to build, to make Charles a secondary school subject to availability of funds. So my question is there any indication of when you think the funds can be available, just to have an idea so that we can provide comfort to your people, Honorable Minister? Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you. The Honorable Minister of Education.
The indication is as soon as the money or resources are found. But priority to be given to that. I am meant to understand that the population is not quite a lot in Charles. I think this is what the DEPS was explaining. But every child, we do not want them to be traveling long distances. So I think that you and me working together with the CDF, I think we can start from somewhere. And then central government can come and finish. I think we can start from somewhere using CDF. Thank you.
The Honorable Member for Chinsari.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Yeah, Honorable Minister, I am not averse to the idea of using CDF. If we can agree that the schools, we make them secondary schools, I would gladly liaise with my colleagues in Chinsali that whatever resources that we have, we can build secondary schools at those two schools. Because what is happening is that the distances that they cover is so long. So I don't know if there can be a possibility, this is just me asking, I don't know if it can be possible, that as we are waiting to do that, is it possible that we can maybe reintroduce grade 8 and 9, of course, with the idea of making secondary schools in the offing, considering that we have an agreement in inverted commas. Thank you, Honorable Minister, and thank you, Madam Speaker.
The Honorable Minister of Education.
I'm sure I don't expect an answer, isn't it? He was commenting, and I agree with him. I agree with your suggestion. But if you check, just even was it this week when I was saying that there's a circular to that effect, and we had said that the POs we wrote to them, the debts we wrote to them, so that those, in a phased manner, allow grade 8 and grade 9 to be. But I'm told and reliably informed that even the land has been found for the 7 schools. So we can, indeed, we will leave, as we phase out, we will leave the primary, but then there can be a secondary school, not as one. So the secondary school will operate as an entity, and then a primary school will operate that side. But I'm told here the land is there already found. Thank you.
The Honorable Member for Mukushi South.
Madam Speaker, I need your protection.
The Honorable Member for Mukushi South, you are well protected. You may go ahead.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Honorable Minister, you have said that these schools will be considered as soon as funds are available. The 2026 budget was passed last year. This is the one we are implementing now. Now, bearing in mind that you are going to be voted out in August, you are only remaining with 6 months to go. Where are you going to find the other money that this House will find for you in order for you to consider the construction of the schools for the Honorable Member for Chinsati? Thank you, Madam Speaker.
The Honorable Minister of Education.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. The honorable member for Mukoshi South, I think he creates castles in Spain. Every time he thinks people are going. All right? I do psychotherapy in private practice, so maybe you have got a problem. Because the member for Chinsari doesn't agree with you. He knows that we shall be here. And probably in Chinsari also, they will vote for you. Okay? I'm not quite sure about that particular one. So we shall be here. Don't worry. Huh? Don't worry, Member of Parliament for Chinsari. We will continue doing all these things. Yeah. But not that one who is going forever. But I have opened my medical center. And you come for free. Thank you.
Thank you. The clerk will now read the order of the day.
The Agriculture Credits and Warehouse Receipts Bill, National Assembly Bill number 34 of 2025, second reading.
The Honorable Minister of Agriculture.
Madam Speaker, I beg to move that the bill be now read a second time.
The question is that the bill be now read a second time. Any debate? The Acting Minister of Agriculture.
Madam Speaker, allow me to thank the Committee on Agriculture, Lands and Natural Resources for the well-articulated report which has brought out important issues from our stakeholders.
Order.
I also wish to thank other members of the House and indeed our stakeholders for their valuable inputs to shape this bill. Madam Speaker, the agriculture sector is a cornerstone of our nation's economy and food security, a fact that this new Dawn government fully recognizes and actively supports. The current legislative framework, primarily the Agriculture Credits Act, Cap 224, is outdated and does not adequately address the modern challenges and opportunities facing our farmers and agricultural businesses. This bill represents a significant step forward in reforming this critical sector and enhancing access to financing for our hard-working farmers. Madam Speaker, the primary objective of this bill, as clearly outlined in the bill, is to modernize the legal and institutional framework for agricultural credits and the warehouse receipt system in Zambia. The legislation will enhance several key objectives, including one, continue the existence of the Warehouse Licensing Authority and redefine its functions. Two, reconstitute the board of the Warehouse Licensing Authority and redefine its functions. Three, establish the electronic warehouse receipt system and provide for its management. Four, regulate warehouses that issue warehouse receipts in the Republic. Five, provide for the rights and obligations of warehouse operators, depositors of agricultural commodities, holders of warehouse receipts, holders of agricultural charges and lenders under contracts of advance. Six, regulate contracts of advance and agricultural charges as security for agricultural commodities. And seven, repeal and replace the Agriculture Credit Act, Cap 224. Madam Speaker, the Agriculture Credits and Warehouse Receipts Bill 2025 presents an important reform of Zambia's legal framework for agricultural storage and finance. If effectively implemented and complemented by institutional capacity building and farmer-focused safeguards, it can deepen agricultural credit markets, reduce post-harvest losses, and enhance commercialization and competitiveness of the agricultural sector. This bill will motivate private sector participation and opening up of markets in underserved areas. Madam Speaker, I thank you.
Thank you. Any further debate? The Vice Chairperson of the Committee on Agriculture, Lands and Natural Resources, The Honorable Member for Masaiti.
Madam Speaker, it is with profound gratitude that the Committee on Agricultural Lands and Natural Resources was tasked to scrutinize the Agricultural Credits and Warehousing Receipts Bill, National Assembly Bill number 34 of 2025, referred to it on 26th November 2025. In executing the task, the committee consulted various stakeholders who made both written and oral submissions before it. Madam Speaker, let me hasten to state that all the witnesses who interacted with the committee were in support of the bill. A summary of the stakeholder submission is recorded in the committee's report for the consideration of this August House. Madam Speaker, the committee is also in support of the bill, and this, at this end, allow me to highlight some of the pertinent issues contained in the committee's report. Madam Speaker, as you are aware, the Agricultural Credits Act, Chapter 224 of the laws of Zambia, regulates houses that issue warehouse receipts. However, the Act does not adequately address the existing gap between agricultural productivity and access to finance, resulting in barriers for investment in the agricultural sector, which has hindered the potential for economic growth. Further, the current warehouse receipt system is limited to the issuance of physical warehouse receipts. This does not align with the international best practices, which provides for electronic warehouse receipts. Therefore, it has become necessary to repeal and replace the Agricultural Credits Act, Chapter 224 of the laws of Zambia, so as to, among others, establish an electronic warehouse receipt system and comprehensively regulate warehouses that issue warehouse receipts, contracts of advances, and agricultural credits, which are used as security for agricultural commodities. Madam Speaker, the Agricultural Credits and Warehousing Receipts Bill, National Assembly Bill number 34 of 2025, creates three distinct financial instruments, namely, 1, warehouse receipts in Clause 34, which allows farmers to store goods and use the receipts as collateral for loans. 2, agricultural charges, which allows farmers to secure loans against farming stock, that is, crops in the field and other assets as contained in Clause 58. This effectively monetizes agricultural inventory, as farmers will no longer engage in distress selling when they are forced to sell at harvest when prices are low. In this regard, farmers can store the commodity, secure a loan for immediate liquidity, and sell when prices rise. This will help stabilize farm incomes and reduce seasonality in cash flow. The third instrument is contracts for advance, provided for in Part 6, which enables a lender on the security of the warehouse receipt to enter into contract with the holder and grant him an advance, such as an input for agricultural production. These financial instruments will go a long way in this unlocking access to credit for farmers, thereby bridge the existing gap between agricultural productivity and access to finance, and align the existing warehousing receipt system with the global best practices, which provides for electronic warehousing receipts. Madam Speaker, the committee observes that while the bill has made provision for small-scale farmers to access financing using their agricultural commodities, the procedures, fees, and formalities may deter the sector from fully participating and accruing anticipated benefits from the legislation. In this regard, the committee recommends the introduction of a clause mandating simplified procedures and subsidized fees for smallholder farmers' participation to trade on the market. Madam Speaker, the committee further observes with concern the risk of a disconnected system as the bill creates the Warehouse Licensing Authority for storage and credit on the other hand. And on the other hand, the committee platform is currently being run by a Zambia Commodity Exchange Agency. The committee is of the view that without formal integration, the system risks creating unsecure, financeable commodities that lack in efficient, transparent mechanism for price discovery and trade. This undermines the core purpose of warehouse receipts to facilitate market liquidity and fair pricing. In this regard, your committee recommends that the government should leverage on the Zambia Agriculture Commodity Exchange to establish infrastructure and expertise in trading, clearing, and settlement to complement the electronic warehouse receipt system. In the same vein, the committee recommends that, in the alternative, the transitional period for notification of existing rights, certificates, and warehouse receipts should be extended from 6 months to between 18 to 24 months to allow other exchanges get licensed and ensure a smooth transition. Madam Speaker, let me wind up by urging the House to support the bill, taking into account the concerns raised in the committee's reports. Madam Speaker, it is grateful to the stakeholders who tendered both written and oral submissions, which greatly assisted in its work. The committee also wishes to thank you, Madam Speaker, for affording it this opportunity to scrutinize the Agricultural Credits and Warehousing Receipts Bill, National Assembly Bill number 34 of 2025. Further, for the support and guidance rendered throughout the committee's deliberations through the Office of the Clerk. Madam Speaker, I thank you.
Thank you. Any further debate? The Honorable Member from Pika.
Thank you so much, Madam Speaker, for this opportunity given to me to aid the voice of the people of Umpika to this very important subject. The people of Umpika are predominantly farmers, and this bill concerns them. Madam Speaker, the agriculture sector remains Zambia's most strategic economic sector, both economically and socially, with the capacity of employing up to about 60%. This sector, Madam Speaker, remains with a lot of challenges, more especially today. Even for this, for what is being proposed in the bill to work, the sector must thrive. That's where we need to start from. How is the agriculture sector performing today? Madam Speaker, our agriculture sector is in shambles. Madam Speaker, our agriculture sector today is in shambles. The agriculture policy, today's agriculture policy, Madam Speaker, does not favor the farmers, small-scale farmers in rural areas who predominantly have to depend on FISIP. The same FISIP that when the government distributes, farmers have to share in caps. How can even a farmer have the crops to take to the warehouse when they have not received the inputs sufficiently? Even when the little crops that they get, they take to FRA. FRA gets on credit and pay them after 7 months. Madam Speaker, this sector today, no one can even boast that the agriculture sector today is performing well.
The Honorable Member from Pika, is it possible that you can base your debate on the bill? Look at the objects of the bill and the clauses that have been, is it changed? Can you center your debate around the bill?
Well guided, Madam Speaker. I was giving a background, Madam Speaker. Today, there is a law that exists, the Agriculture Credit Act, 224 of the laws of Zambia. Despite the existence of that law, Madam Speaker, our farmers do not have access to credit using the crops that they harvest. There are no proper systems in place, Madam Speaker, to even support any law that will be put in place. That is the fact. And this bill, Madam Speaker.
Which thing?
Which bill? I said which bill?
Okay.
The Agriculture Credit and Warehousing Receipt Bill.
Okay.
Warehouse Receipt Bill, Madam Speaker, which seeks to create an authority, among other things. Madam Speaker, for the benefit of the Honorable Minister of Youth, the existing law provides for farmers to go and get credit using their crops as collateral. It does not happen, and it has never happened. Farmers in Mpika, Madam Speaker, who lack the fund to use for them to continue farming have no access to this particular facility because the systems have not been put in place. What are we doing today, Madam Speaker? Introducing more laws that may not even help our people. Madam Speaker, that's the background I was trying to give. Farmers in Kasenga, farmers in Chironga, farmers in Mkungure, and farmers in Chinsari, as well as farmers in Iwengwa, do not have access. Even when they have crops, they can't take anywhere those crops for them to go and get money unless FRA goes to those farmers and gets their crops on credit. Then it takes 7 to 10 months before they are paid. And someone will still say we are developing the agriculture sector. What kind of a mockery is that coming from people who must be responsible for growing this sector? Madam Speaker, I mean, I've taken into account the observations of the committee as listed on page 9. Even if we implemented these observations, Madam Speaker, very little that will be achieved. The only thing that will be achieved here is the creation of positions under that authority. The same positions will be given to those that are politically connected. Even when we create that, Madam Speaker, under this bill, Madam Speaker, I need your protection. He's mentioning Honorable Brian Mundubile, who he knows very soon will become Republican president.
Honorable Member. Honorable Member from Pika, you are debating through the chair or through the speaker. So I was listening attentively. Can you please continue?
Thank you, Madam Speaker. The law as it were, the Agriculture Credit Act 224 of the laws of Zambia, is a very progressive law. And their systems must be put in place, Madam Speaker, so that our people start benefiting from what the law establishes. That is what is lacking. They would rather come up with SAF loans. Farmers in rural areas have applied and applied even in urban areas. They get literally nothing in terms of those loans. They are just on paper. Madam Speaker, policies that are formulated must be implemented for the benefit of the people. You cannot come up with a policy.
The Honorable Member from Pika, Did you say the people don't get loans?
They
It's
don't, Madam
something
Speaker.
that is on paper. Are you sure, Honorable Member? Because I remember very well last time when we had a drought, there were questions that were raised to the minister asking how those people that were hit by the drought are going to pay back. So I don't know whether you still say that that program is just on paper. Are you sure there are no people that are not getting loans? If they are there, just withdraw and continue with your debate.
Madam Speaker, here I speak for my people. And when my people say they applied in their thousands and no one has received the loan, it's something that I'm talking about. My colleague here is saying, even in Ichienge, Madam Speaker, the pronouncements from this government, more especially in the agriculture sector, should not just be rhetorical. They must be pronouncements that change the lives of our people. How can the government come up with a policy that they rhetorically implement? On the ground, the situation is very different. Even when you implement this, there is nothing that will happen in the agriculture sector. They must just, admit that they have failed. They must admit their failures. Madam Speaker, our people cannot continue being treated
Hello,
rhetorical.
Honorable Member, I think at this point, you are just supposed to say you agree with the bill or you don't agree with the bill, not asking people whether they've failed or not failed. I think we've got a report before us. Do you agree with the bill or not? That is how we are supposed to conclude.
I mean, you can say that once again, a million times. I'll still find you in here if you are lucky.
Madam Speaker, I support the bill reluctantly so, and I hope what the bill seeks to establish will be implemented for the good of our people. I thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you. The Honorable Member for Kanchivia.
Thank you so much, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I want to debate in support of this very important bill. The reason why this bill is very important, Madam Speaker, is that it goes to address a significant implications that farmers have had in terms of accessing finance or agricultural credit. The first point, Madam Speaker, to note, and paying attention to this particular bill, is that it facilitates access to agricultural credit. Now, the bill modernizes the framework for agricultural credit. And, Madam Speaker, what this does is that it allows farmers to use warehouse receipts and other agricultural assets as collateral for loans and advances. This is part 5, part 6, when you read from sections 49 to 54 of the bill, as well as part 7, sections 57 to 59. With this particular bill, Madam Speaker, what it allows is that farmers can now obtain financing for inputs, for mechanization, and other production needs without having to sell their produce immediately, thereby supporting liquidity and production planning. Very, very important. And by formalizing contracts, Madam Speaker, for advance and agricultural charges, what this bill does is that it reduces lender risk and encourages banks and microfinance institutions to extend credit to even rural farmers in Kanchibia. Number 2, the introduction of electronic warehouse receipt system is very important because it ensures secure, transparent, and easily transferable documentation of stored commodities, Madam Speaker. What this does is that farmers can negotiate warehouse receipt, which can be sold, transferred, or used as collateral, giving them a greater bargaining power in markets and financial institutions. What it does is that it reduces fraud and loss risks associated with physical receipts and improves trust between the farmers, warehouses, and the lenders. The third aspect, Madam Speaker, I would want to address is that it goes to strengthen storage and market access. When you look at Part 3 of this bill, Sections 8 to 20, Part 5, Sections 34 to 48, licensed warehouses are required to meet standards for storage, insurance, and handling. What this does is that it ensures that farmers' commodities are safe from damage, from theft, as well as spoilage. Properly stored commodities, Madam Speaker, as we know, is very important for marketability. And this is a matter that we must pay particular attention to. It also goes to strengthen storage and market access. Over and beyond, Madam Speaker, what this does is that it promotes rural agriculture development. When you interrogate this particular bill, what it's telling you is that it will enable smallholder farmers to leverage stored produce for loans. And what this bill also does is that it encourages investment in farming, better usage in terms of input, as well as potential higher yields. So coming from the people of Kanchibia and looking at the positive aspects of this particular bill, and also having had interacted with a bill that with the act this bill seeks to amend, Madam Speaker, this particular bill comes as a step in the right direction. Madam Speaker, submit.
Thank you. The Honourable Member for Lukasha.
I thank you, Madam Speaker. At the moment, I was almost beginning to think I wasn't going to be given the opportunity. But let me start by surprising the Minister of Sport, Madam Speaker, by saying, as an ardent supporter of access to finance by small-scale farmers especially, I support this bill. The people of Lukasha support this bill. However, I just want to make two very important observations, Madam Speaker. The first one is the fact that we are trying to create, Madam Speaker, a commodities exchange where warehouse receipts can be traded and they can be used for collateral. Madam Speaker, as observed by the committee, you cannot actually introduce this feature in the law without giving the opportunity to the Securities Exchange Commission to regulate the market. So it's very important for, as observed by the committee, Madam Speaker, that government considers granting authority to the Securities Exchange Commission to regulate the market that is intended to be created by this initiative. Secondly, Madam Speaker, and most importantly, it is a cost by small-scale farmers. Like as observed by the committee again, small-scale farmers make a good quantity of those who supply commodities, and those supposed to benefit from this initiative. And therefore, it will also be very important that they are also given the opportunity to access this facility at a cheaper price. I think there's an observation that has been made here that they must be allowed, you should introduce an initiative to make it cheaper for them to access these facilities. With these two remarks, Madam Speaker, I wish to say I support this bill. Thank you very much.
Thank you. The last member, the Honourable Member for Chama North.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, for this opportunity. I was just consulting my chair, Madam Speaker. I am a member of the Agriculture, Lands and Natural Resources Committee, so I thought it was important that I can say a few words, if that is allowed.
The few words that they've left out. Otherwise, I'm going to allow you, because there were a few debaters, just to make it a summary.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker, for the opportunity. Madam Speaker, this is a very progressive bill. The Agricultural Credits and Warehouse Receipt Bill, in the sense that it is long overdue. Madam Speaker, I think I'm on record that I presented a private member's motion on this floor of the House, which is actually resonating very, very well with this bill. Madam Speaker, our rural farmers, the small-scale farmers, have huge challenges to secure especially lucrative markets. So this bill, it will mean that the Zambian Commodity Exchange will be used as a platform in which our rural farmers are able to take their farming products to a designated area where they will deposit and get a receipt which they can use, even go to the agro dealers and obtain farming inputs. So, Madam Speaker, this bill will create a situation whereby the Zambian platform is able to get data, prices of agricultural commodities in the sub-region and beyond, so that our farmers can derive maximum economic benefits from their sweat. Madam Speaker, it will also create employment for the rural people, because it will mean that we have to establish storage facilities, because for this platform to work better, even the private sector can come on board and establish storage facilities and make money. So this is a very, very progressive bill, Madam Speaker. Today, our small-scale farmers have no capacity to secure foreign markets. It's only the big boys, the big people from Lusaka who go to rural areas and buy these farming products at a very cheap price. But they do sell on the international market at a very, very high price, while our local farmers, our small-scale farmers, continue to be poor. So this is an opportunity for our farmers in rural areas so that they can drive value for their money. It will reduce pressure on the government in terms of FRA. Currently, we have a situation whereby we have been struggling to pay farmers because we are relying very much on the government to buy all agricultural products like maize. So this is an opportunity that the government will have less pressure. So this is a very progressive bill which must be supported. And with this country targeting to achieve 10 million metric tons of maize, I am sure that many of our farmers are going to I think many of our farmers are going to drive value for their money. Currently, the maize bans, even the maize ban will not even be there because the country is losing billions of dollars annually as a result of maize ban. So with this system in place, I can assure you colleagues that we are going to revolutionize the agriculture sector in this country. So with these few remarks, I want to appeal to all members of Parliament to support this progressive bill. Thank you.
Thank you. The Honorable Minister of Agriculture, wind up debate. The Acting Minister.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. The bill's objective is to operationalize the warehouse receipt systems and improve smallholder access to finance by using receipts as collateral with alignment to related market and regulatory frameworks. The recommendations proposed by the committee are well noted, and all identified concerns will be addressed through regulatory instruments, guidelines, and phased implementation rather than broad legislative amendments. The bill already reflects the policy direction and government support for harmonization and practical execution. I therefore call upon all members of the august House and other stakeholders to continue to support the proposed legislation as it will unlock opportunities for millions of our farmers by easing access to agricultural financing that will ultimately give our farmers the confidence to invest and our nation the foundation to become a regional bread basket. Now, turning to the other colleagues who debated, thank you very much for supporting the bill. But I don't know, sometimes when you are listening to a member of parliament from Pika, you'd think that he's coming from another country. He doesn't see anything good. No. So I wish he was here when Lukasha, member of parliament, was debating and Chairman North. He looks lost. He's in his own world. He has never seen anything good. So I'm wondering, because sometimes when things are written for you, you just read. But he's arguing. This afternoon, Madam Speaker, over the staff, I was answering a question from Honorable Member for
Kalabo.
For Kalabo. I was talking about, he was asking about Kalabo, the loans. And I answered, I said, yes, the people were getting the loans. And he was there in the House. Then he sees nothing. I don't know which lenses he uses. Thank you.
Well, there are always people like that. I put the question. The question is that the bill be now read a second time. As many as are of that opinion say aye. Of the contrary say no. The ayes have it. The question is resolved in the affirmative. Let the bill be read a second time.
The Agriculture Credits and Warehouse Receipts Bill, National Assembly Bill number 34 of 2025.
Committee stage to be taken when?
In due course, Madam Speaker.
Committee stage to be taken in due course. Her Honor the Vice President, adjournment.
Madam Speaker, I beg to move that the House now adjourns.
The question is that the House now adjourns. Any debate? Any objection? The question is agreed to. The House is now adjourned.
Thank you very much for still being locked onto Parliament TV, the station that is dedicated to bringing Parliament closer to you. For more live parliamentary business, tune in tomorrow morning, especially at 14:30 hours when we give you parliamentary business in the chamber. But right now we just do a quick recap of what has taken place on the floor of the House today, 17th February 2026.
When business commenced at 14:30, Madam Speaker did make some announcements. In the first announcement, Madam Speaker recognized the presence in the public gallery of two members of the public from Kaima Parliamentary Constituency in Western Province, and also staff from Kaoma Town Council from Kaoma District. Madam Speaker, on behalf of the National Assembly of Zambia, warmly welcomed the visitors to the National Assembly. In the other announcement, Madam Speaker informed the House that approval has been granted to the Catholic Church to hold Mass with Catholic members of Parliament and staff on Wednesday, 18 February 2026, in the amphitheater here at Parliament buildings. She said this is in commemoration of Ash Wednesday, an annual religious activity that signals the commencement of 40 days of prayer, fasting, and almsgiving leading up to Easter. Madam Speaker informed honorable members that attendance is voluntary and not restricted to members of the Catholic Church. She further said all honorable members and staff are welcome to attend this event, which will take place between 12:30 hours and 13:55 hours.
Thereafter, there were urgent matters without notice that were raised on the floor of the House, and the first one was raised by Ron, Member of Parliament. His matter was directed at the Minister of Home Affairs and Internal Security, but at the time he was raising this matter, the Minister was not around, so he redirected it at the Vice President. And this matter was basically on the experience some members of Parliament had yesterday, and this is when they found it very difficult to sleep due to the firecrackers or fireworks. And in his matter, he did say that the crackers, or indeed the fireworks, were noisy, such that members thought they were bombs. So he wanted to find out basically from the minister if it was in order for him to not inform the public when these events would be happening, and also to prepare members of Parliament, or should they just be random occurrences. So in ruling on this matter, Madam Speaker did not admit it, but otherwise just urged the Member of Parliament to engage the Minister. And then the second matter that was raised was by Kantanshi, Member of Parliament, and this one was directed at the Minister of Mines, but he was not in the House, so it was directed at the Vice President. So he did indicate that about 2 weeks ago there were two fatal mine accidents on the Copper Belt, and that did prompt the Minerals Regulation Commission to actually revoke some of their Act due to non-compliance of safety. And then afterward, he did indicate that he wanted to find out why the minister did not inform the public on the findings. And this matter, too, was not admitted. It was inadmissible. But the Member of Parliament was asked to file in a question, and the Minister of Mines would comprehensively answer it. And then the last matter that was raised was by Bangwaolu Member of Parliament, Mr. Kasandwe. And this one was directed to the Minister of Infrastructure and Urban Development. And in his matter, he did point out that from November 2024, the government made assurances to work on the Kapata-Katansha road. And he did say that the road at the moment has been cut at 2 points, making service delivery difficult and very difficult for school-going children to access their schools. So he wanted to find out what is happening. And the Speaker did not admit this issue, but otherwise urged the Member of Parliament to indeed file in a question. So those are the 3 urgent matters without notice that were raised on the floor of the House earlier on today.
The House went on to consider 12 questions for oral answer under Standing Order 80, and 1 question lapsed. This is question number 194. It was supposed to come from Kwacha Member of Parliament, Mr. Charles Mulenga, and his question was supposed to be directed to the Minister of Local Government and Rural Development, where he wanted to find out what measures the government is taking to ensure that local authorities countrywide do not use the Constituency Development Fund, CDF, for staff allowances and programs not related to CDF, and the member being absent from the House at the time of its consideration, this question lapsed.
Okay, so just look at one of the questions that was posed on the floor of the House, and the response that was given will take you to question 191. This question was posed by Pika Member of Parliament, Mr. Kapyanga, who directed his question at the Minister of Health. He wanted to know whether the government had any plans to construct a level 1 hospital in Nabwalia Chiefdom in Mpika Parliamentary constituency. The Minister did indicate that the government does not have any immediate plans to construct a level 1 hospital in Nabwalia Chiefdom, but instead he did indicate that the government has allocated the constituency some money for the constituency to construct a mini hospital in the area, and he said these plans would be implemented in the second quarter of 2026. And the cost, which was asked in the question, what the estimated cost, so the minister did indicate that the mini hospital that will be constructed has an estimated cost of about 32 million kwacha. And this includes equipment and an ambulance. So this was the answer that was given to the question that was posed by Mpika Member of Parliament, Mr. Kapyanga, directed at the Minister of Health.
Another question came from Chinsali Member of Parliament, Mr. Kalalwe Mukosa. This is question 193. This question was directed to the Minister of Energy. He wanted to find out a question in 4 parts. In part A, whether the government has any plans to build power interconnectors to strengthen cross-border energy trade, and the minister did say that government has plans. In part B, he wanted to find out if so, how many power interconnectors the government plans to build. The Minister of Energy did say that the government intends to build 7 interconnectors project. In part C, he wanted to find out what the estimated cost of the project is. The minister did indicate that 5.5 billion United States dollars is the estimated cost of the project.
Okay, and just in case you missed out those interconnectors that indeed are going to be put across, these include the Malawi-Zambia interconnector, Angola-Zambia, Mozambique-Zambia, Zimbabwe-Zambia-Botswana, Namibia interconnector, Kolwezi-Solwezi, Botswana-Zambia, Tanzania-Zambia, and of course this would cost at about 5.5 billion US dollars. So those are just some of the questions that were posed on the floor of the House and the responses that were given by the ministers to whom those questions were directed. After that, the House then moved on to consider a bill, and this bill was considered at second reading.
And committee stage of the bill will be taken in due course. This is the agriculture credits and the warehouse receipts bill, National Assembly Bill number 34 of 2025, which was read the second time, and of course, committee stage will be taken in due course. So this is the business that has been considered on the floor of the House today, Tuesday, 17th February 2026. From all of us here, keep watching Parliament Television. Good afternoon.
President Hakainde Hichilema on Friday, 20th February 2026, addressed the nation on the progress made on the application of national values and principles. The address will be broadcast live on Parliament Television on DSTV channel 272, GoTV